The very best have gathered here in San Diego, led by some MLB bloodlines.
The Yankees are champions of baseball.
Charlie Hayes' son, Ke'Bryan.
He struck him out. Strikeout number 4,000.
Roger Clemens' son, Cody.
Goodbye, baseball. He did it. 4 home runs for Mike Cameron.
And maybe the #1 prospect in the country, Mike Cameron's son, Dasmond. Who's the next Clayton Kershaw? Who will be the next Mike Trout? Let's get some answers. Perfect Games All-American Classic coming up next.
Okay, Darren, Daz Cameron, the #1 player in this class and has been for a number of years. Many people think his game is patterned after Andrew McCutchen. But Daz, who are some of the players you followed or tried to emulate your game after?
Well, I try to model my game after Andrew McCutchen as well. I mean, I like the way he plays. He plays the game hard, and I pretty much play like him. I try to model my game after him, so just like the way he plays.
Now, he didn't say Dad. Now, Dad, 17 years in the big leagues, you won 3 Gold Gloves. I'm sure there's so much you could help Daz out with, but what have you tried to instill how he should carry himself on and off the field?
Just like some of the intricate pieces of the game within the game itself. Because the talent is going to stand out on its own, and the work habit that you have to have, and probably the biggest thing is just understanding that to be humble and the opportunity that you're getting to play the game.
Now, last night you were supposed to be in Seattle. You canceled your flight at the last minute. You were going to go up there and honor your former manager, Lou Piniella. You wanted to be here for Daz. He ended up winning the Jackie Robinson Player of the Year award.
Yeah.
What did that mean for you to be here to see that?
It's special, man, because it's something that you wouldn't expect it. I know he was a finalist. We got emails a couple times during the week, but to actually be named there, I mean, it's pretty impressive. Not only for the honor of being a Player of the Year, but who is named after and what he did for the game and the opportunity that these guys are getting in the game now.
Now, finally, Daz, you've been compared to so many talented players, but also the #1 player for so long in this class. Does it come with any pressure or expectations?
Well, sometimes it does, but I try to not worry about it. Most of the time, I really need to just go out there and just play my game and not worry about what's going on in the public and just stay within myself.
Father and son, Daz Cameron and Mike Cameron. Darren, back to you.
Well, that's great stuff. Thank you very much, Bray. Now, you go from the #1 player in the country when you talk about Daz to the #1 player in the state of Texas. Let's take a journey to the Texas Hill Country and get to know a young man where it all starts at home, Cole Mackay.
It really humbles you out here. You can just go outside and just listen to the country. I love fishing. It's so peaceful. There you go. Little perch. The light comes up and it just hits the water perfect.
Perfect. The word suits Cole Mackay like a glove. At 6'5", 225 pounds, he's a 17-year-old man-child with a 94-mile-an-hour fastball. He lives deep in the heart of the Texas Hill Country, where fishing, faith, and fastballs define the top-ranked high school pitcher in the class of 2015.
We put a small mound out there, and it's a little turf mound that he's torn up probably 100 times, and we've patched 100 times. And he would go down there and just work on the things that he would want to envision himself doing.
Do you think you were born to play baseball?
Yeah, for sure. When I get up there, I just feel comfortable. I feel like I was born to be up there.
We live in South Texas, where I would say football pretty much rules. Everybody look at him and his size and think, well, you need to come play football for us. But he was born to pitch. I mean, we would laugh because he would always, forever, in front of a mirror, be throwing and pitching a ball.
Look at it as a work of art. Go up there and enjoy the process of painting the picture. Everything's about throwing the heat and what's the radar gun say, and he's been gifted, obviously, in the ability to throw a very, very hard fastball. But pitching is an art form. If you look at his goal poster ever since he was little, he came into me and he said, "Hey, Dad, I think God told me that he wants me to live for him." And that's when he was like 6 or 7.
A decade later, Cole Mackay is having his coming out party at the PG All-American Classic here in San Diego. The spotlight shines brightest on the hottest prospects, and this one is not afraid of the light it sheds on who he is.
All these conversations about Cole Mackay and what you're going to be doing, and are you going to be going to college, are you going to go play, Major League Ball, and he's a pretty humble kid, and we just pray that that'll remain that way.
The pinky is the smallest finger on the hand, and if he's playing ball out in the field and he's struggling, and I put my pinky up, he knows exactly what it means. If you want to be the greatest, become a servant. That's what life is. Life's not about you.
It's never been about the fame or the money, but I mean, if that comes, obviously, that would be great to be blessed with that, but that's definitely not why I play. If you wake up every morning and just look at all this, it reminds you of what God's given you to do and what you're here for.
I want to thank the Mackay family for hosting us in their home. So #1 in Texas is Mackay. The #1 left-hander in the United States is today's starting pitcher, Justin Hooper. He's a UCLA commit. He is with Brett Dolan.
Okay, thanks, Darren. They seem to make these guys bigger every year. This is 6'7" Justin Hooper, the #1 left-handed pitcher in the class. He comes from a football family. His father was a football star here in town. His brother is a tight end in Stanford. Justin, what pulled you off the gridiron to the baseball diamond?
I just felt like I had more of the love for football. I didn't want to get beat up like my brother and my dad and my uncle did, so I had to hang up those cleats and put on the medals.
You were throwing 95 miles an hour this summer. Your stock certainly was on the rise. For somebody who hasn't seen you pitch, describe your stuff and your pitching style.
I throw a fastball, two-seam, curveball, slider, changeup. I just see when the batter steps in the box, see their presence and see whatever seems fit and toss them in.
We talk a lot about players going on to the draft. A lot of players will move on as well to college. Very few list their favorite subject as chemistry or their baseball player they most admire, Craig Breslow, who studied biophysics at Yale. How important is baseball to you to help further your education, first and foremost?
Education's first in my family. I mean, I had my uncle at Stanford, my brother at Stanford, and education's everything to me and my family, and I'm excited to go play for Coach Chavez at UCLA.
That's Justin Hooper, the #1 left-handed pitcher in this class. And Darren, back to you.
The game is about you guys, but the whole event is to raise money for the Children's Hospital. That's what this game has always stood for, right from the very first one in 2003.
Welcome to San Diego. Welcome to Rady Children's Hospital.
When people come to visit this hospital, I try to inspire them with what's behind the walls over here, which is a bunch of really sick children.
You go to this game? Are you about to beat me? Yeah.
Sitting here with Caden, playing Break the Ice, one of my childhood favorites, and he's winning. He's winning. He's beating us all. So.
When it comes to soccer, you do it so good.
It's definitely the most important thing about this All-American Classic, and just meeting with the kids really puts things in perspective, and they're the true heroes here, and really look up to them. They're so tough and amazing kids, and put a smile on your face. So I'm just really happy to be here.
I think you're better than me.
Now we have a competition to raise money via teams, so the West team is at $25,000 right now, and the East squad is at $22,000 right now. It's going to a great cause, and I had a great time raising the money. I'm very thankful.
Man, I absolutely love it. This is my first opportunity to get out here and help people and just be somebody to kids, and it's an opportunity that I'll never forget.
12th Perfect Game All-American Classic. The goal each year is to raise funds to help stamp out pediatric cancer. Rady Children's Hospital, the beneficiary. David, the players raised more than $50,000 on their own. Spectacular. Just a real special part each year of this game.
Oh, it definitely is, Darren. As a parent, it was a joy and a privilege to meet the kids, meet the administrators, and as a baseball person, to watch the players and how they interacted with the kids, because everybody benefits from that.
Perspective, Darryl Hamilton.
Well, it's not just baseball. I think these kids understand that the game is great, but there are other things going on in life, and I'm so very proud of these kids because they understand how lucky they are to be out here playing the game they love.
Perspective wasn't needed for a star outfielder on the East squad, Jahmai Jones. You see, at 13 years old, he lost his father, Andre, to a brain aneurysm. The family, mom, the children, left to fend for themselves. They've built character as a group. Here's more.
I mean, my dad has always been a guy that has led me on the right path. Always been a guy who was my dad first and then a coach second. Regardless of what happened at the day, if we were talking about baseball, if we were talking about football, or you need to have your hands here, at the end of the day, he would always say, don't forget that I love you. And my dad just taught me that never take a day for granted. This is one lifetime, you have one chance to do it, don't regret anything.
So your late father, known as a superstar athlete, certainly at Notre Dame. Your brother headed to the Detroit Lions. He's known as a superstar athlete, TJ. But your mom, Michelle's the superstar. I mean, we can talk about superstar athletes all we want, but your mom is a superstar.
She is. She is my rock. I mean, she's the one that kept a family of 6 children together after my father passed. I mean, I don't know any woman who could keep calm in that kind of situation. She just lost her husband. We just lost our father, and she took the role of both. I mean, she disciplined us when it needed to be disciplined, but she also loved us so much that it was like love from 2 parents.
So you've seen her have to make a lot of tough choices. I guess your tougher choice at 16 kind of pales in comparison, but athletically you did have a choice that was challenging. Football, baseball, and at Wesleyan in the Roswell, Georgia area, you decided baseball only. Are you excited now that despite catching more than 1,000 yards your sophomore year, are you excited that baseball is your focal point?
I'm very excited. I couldn't be more excited. Baseball started off as a hobby of mine that I used to play with a bunch of my friends. I never thought it would escalate into something this big. I did have a dream always when I was younger of making it to the pros, and as the days go on, I keep training and just working and just doing everything that I can to make it to that next level. It just seems that my goal is getting closer and closer every time.
Dad Andre, the late Andre Jones, a member of Lou Holtz's 1988 National Championship team. Families, baseball fans, scouts certainly have gathered here at Petco Park. Let's get to know the starting lineup for the East squad with the aforementioned Jahmai Jones at the top of the order. Daz Cameron, Brendan Rodgers, Danny Reyes out of Miami is next. Brant Stallings is the DH. Cornelius Randolph, big shortstop prospect out of Georgia. Ryan Mountcastle, Kep Brown, 6'5" and can fly. Slugger, Isaiah Gillian, already been drafted, we'll explain. Nick Fortis and John Ayalo. They will face a left-hander, Justin Hooper. Hooper goes to work. The Baseball Prospectus Prospect of the Year. He won that award last night. You can see what he did with De La Salle High School championship caliber pitching. David, championship caliber baseball. Tell us a little bit more from the scout side.
Well, Justin Hooper, we already learned about him in his academics and his dedication to study. 93, 90 mile an hour fastball on the mound. That's a baseball thing. That's what the scouts are paying attention to. Big breaking ball. And anytime you have 6'7", 230 on the mound, the leverage that creates, that's an exciting thing on a left-handed pitcher.
Daryl, I'm guessing you're going to be watching the nerves and how these young men react.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they handle it, especially here in the first inning with a guy like Cooper on the mound. I mean, it's almost like watching Randy Johnson. It feels like he reaches out and he can touch the guys in the batter's box. So calm your nerves down, go up there and think of this as a normal game.
This battery mate is out of Long Beach, California, Chris Betts, and we just got to know Jahmai Jones, a young man out of Georgia, leads it off. And the first pitch fastball is inside, 93 miles an hour, 1-0 the count. Jones, Wesleyan High School, Team Elite Roadrunners, his travel squad. And a young man that David, you and all the folks at Perfect Game have ranked 3rd in the United States in the outfield.
Oh yeah, Jahmai Jones is a special athlete. We've learned about him personally and know that he's a special young man. And it goes onto the field as well. Big power, 6 foot, 210, 215 pounds, and a lot of home run power in that bat. And we'll see how he starts it off against the big left-hander.
Mom is Michelle. Boy, what a strong woman she is with what she has raised the family through and endured. We told you a little bit about his brother TJ, who is off to the Detroit Lions after having a fine career at Notre Dame. Well beyond his years, Jahmai Jones. Boy, some liveliness, Daryl. That ball has some cut to it.
I tell you what, the first 2 pitches he threw, it was a little up in the zone. It seemed like he was a little tight, but after that, he's a little more comfortable. He's letting it go right now.
Well, Daryl, you mentioned the reaching out in front, and at the plate there we saw some cutting action. That's a result of getting way out there in front on that fastball. It looks like it's coming from about 52, 53 feet to Jahmai Jones.
It's 6-7. He fires it home. There it is, right under the bat. There's that cutting we were talking about. A big-time swing and a miss. So the defense unable to go to work behind him this time. Let's introduce you to that defense. You'll see them hit as well, but some athletes certainly. Kyle Dean, Mitchell Hansen, Ryan Johnson. Cody Clemens is out there at second base. Brian Hayes is at third. Out of Bishop Gorman in Las Vegas, Caden Grenier is at shortstop, and Devin Davis has some great hands at first base. Chris Betts, the #1 catcher in the nation behind home plate out of Southern California. Here is Daz Cameron. Fastball runs away from Daz. 1-0 the count.
That last pitch to Jahmai Jones, 96 miles an hour with cut, opens it up with a 95-mile-an-hour fastball to Daz. That's that serious heat, Daryl.
And what's impressive is not necessarily the 96 miles an hour that he's throwing. It's the cut fastball. The ball's moving all over the place. In fact, it's almost having a little trouble trying to catch it.
So there's his first breaking ball. 2-0 the count to Cameron. Coming out of McDonough, Georgia.
And the scouts are officially happy now. He has a breaking ball.
Yeah, and there will be the temptation in this event. Each of the pitchers is going 1 inning. I think we have one pitcher that will go 2 innings as Cameron grounds that down to first base.
Hooper is there to cover the bag, takes the flip from Devin Davis.
But as I was saying, the pitchers are out there for 1 inning. They're on national TV. They want to show off their stuff. And the stuff is often just the velo, but it'll be nice to see a breaking ball from Hooper, some change-ups, especially when we have Trevor Hoffman up here later to talk about change-ups. They'll mix it up a bit, but it's going to be a lot of heat.
Well, it's almost like a Major League All-Star game. When you get 1 inning to pitch, you want to go show the guys in the dugout that you've got great stuff, so you're letting it fly. You're not thinking about off-speed pitches.
It's like facing 9 closers.
Yeah.
Floridian Brendan Rodgers takes a fastball over the outside at 95 miles an hour. This is a young man that maybe has elevated himself to co-#1, a shortstop at the top of this class with Daz Cameron.
Yeah, that's what I think the opinion of the scouting community is right now, and that's obviously no disrespect to Daz Cameron at all. It's more out of respect for Brendan Rodgers. He has had so many loud events, loud games this summer. He's a shortstop, so he's a premium position, and he projects to stay at shortstop, and he's a middle-of-the-order bat, so really the entire package in Brendan Rodgers.
Good change of pace there. That one disappeared under his bat.
Not sure that was a changeup or a slider. He mentioned when he was talking to Brett before, and he throws both the curveball and the slider. It was either a cut changeup, a term that I like using, or a true slider. Nasty pitch, whatever the name was.
Rodgers has been incredible in batting practice. Very good hands. As that one sails away. And as much as you are around the major leagues on a daily basis, Daryl, offense is just something that is a hot commodity. And if you can hit, you're getting picked high.
Well, there's so many great pitchers out there right now that offensively you would hope younger players can adapt to that and come out and swing the bats a lot better. You see this game, it's more focused on hitters than pitchers, but right now, Mr. Hoover is having a good time up there.
Rodgers out of Lake Mary High School, the Orlando Scorpions in that area, his travel team in Longwood, Florida. He gives that one a high drive to left. It chases Dean back to the track, just shy of it. That was a major league flyout. A major league flyout to get things started. So we've already seen 95+ miles an hour and the big bat of Brendan Rodgers. In the end, though, 1-2-3 inning. No scores. We head to the bottom of the first. The perfect game, All-American Classic. Getting to know the West offensively as they get ready to swing the bat. Leading off out of Colorado, Nick Shumpert. Mitchell Hansen, the Texan, is next. Chris Betts is followed by Greg Pickett, LMU commit. Devin Davis, Loyola Marymount. Ryan Johnson is the right fielder. Cody Clemens is the second baseman. Josh Naylor. Out of Mississauga, Ontario, north of the border, Brian Hayes, the third baseman. Caden Grenier, the shortstop. Kyle Dean, the left fielder. Starting line was brought to you by Nike. And, of course, Nike providing these youthful, unique baseball uniforms as well as the first pitch is rolled. Foul number 5 on the back of that Nike jersey. Nick Shumpert. Shumpert out of Lone Tree, Colorado, Highlands High School. Plays his travel ball with the Prospects national team. And not only did Dad Terry have a long career, 14 years primarily with Kansas City and Colorado, but his sister's a great athlete as well. She's at Vermont. Tierra, his sister, a college basketball player. Just a great athletic family.
Well, this is funny because I really know how old I am right now, because I remember Nick, because his dad and I played in Colorado together, and I remember him being around the clubhouse with the basketball all the time. And I was saying this kid is going to be a great basketball player, but he proved me wrong.
That was sister. That was sister who turned out to be the great player.
Yeah, actually, Nick was a basketball player and gave it up a year ago to concentrate on baseball, and has really taken huge strides in the last year as a baseball-only athlete.
#1 shortstop prospect in Colorado, #3 overall in the United States. As you're watching Ash Russell work with a hard breaking ball down and away. 3-2 the count.
Yeah, Nick Shumpert, he's a true middle infielder. He's a speed player. It's a big asset for him, but what separates him from the normal shortstop prospect is he has that power and the raw bat speed to be an impact run producer at the premium position.
Spoils one, a good fastball, 92 miles an hour. So Russell out of Indianapolis, Indiana, and the top right-hander in the state of Indiana and the #2 right-hander in the country.
Yeah, Ash Russell's been great all summer. 92, 94, touching 96, elevates that one at 93, but really a complete pitcher with a variety of other pitches as well.
Defensively working behind him. Ayala, Rogers, Mountcastle on the infield. Jones, Cameron, Reyes in the outfield left to right. Nick Fortis working behind the plate. The very best heading into their senior years in high school. The Perfect Game All-American Classic, and of course our defense presented by our good friends with Nike. They have made it a true experience for these talented young athletes. 0-1 the count on Mitchell Hanson, the center fielder.
You know, what was funny about Daz Cameron, as we talked to him before the game, you know, he was talking about who he emulates his game after. I'm thinking to myself, how about Dad? Dad was a pretty good center fielder.
Yeah, that's a pretty good comp and a pretty good guy to learn from. Dad was talking last night that, like any parent of a teenager, all of you that are watching that have been there, you know, I know, that they went on occasion where they maybe butted heads, and Mike, instead of the peacefulness of Mike Cameron, instead of flying off the handle and getting angry, he just kind of said, you'll come talk to me when you're ready to ask some questions. He said about 2 weeks later he was back. All right, Dad, you were right. I have some questions. 1-2 the count on Hanson. Breaking ball dives inside. Young man out of Plano, Texas, Plano Senior High School.
I can relate to that because my kids would take advice from a guy off the side of the road. They don't think I could hit, so it's so tough to kind of deal with that.
Good fastball, 94 miles an hour. Yeah, David, we were talking about where he's from. Tell us who he is.
Well, he is a young man that the scouts are starting to compare to Mark Fidrich. He has the big hair. He's animated on the field, but it all comes down to the arm. Fast arm, mid-90s fastball, and really comes out after hitters aggressively. And there's a little helicopter curveball there for strike 3.
Maybe a little bit up at the zone, Darryl, but a really good pitch. Change speeds on it.
And he's using all his pitches. We talked earlier how in these all-star games you want to get back and throw as hard as you can. Hey, he's out there pitching.
There's the fun, David Ronsley. He's not showing quite that character yet.
Oh, wait till you see Ash Russell in batting practice fielding. He puts on a show in batting practice just shagging.
Into center field. It's a base hit, a rocket shot. Chris Betts, Evo Shield Swag Award winner last night, an outstanding bat. This is the #1 catcher in the country.
Oh, no doubt. Chris Betts, he has a big, mature body like you want to see in a catcher, the durableness, and he has both the defensive tools and the offensive tools. He's hitting third in this lineup, and he belongs third in the lineup. He's a run producer with lots of left-handed power.
So Betts with a base hit from number 26 to number 27 in that neon yellow. Swing and a miss. Another good hammer.
Well, what we've seen from Russell so far with the breaking ball, he's thrown some 82, 83 miles an hour, and we've seen that slower 77 where he pulls the string on it, and really two separate pitches.
Follows it up with a lively fastball. Pickett's out of Aurora, Colorado, Legend High School.
And plus, these kids get an opportunity to deal with what big leaguers deal with. You know, hey, it's kind of shaded out there. There's a little bit of half of the infield is in the shade. The other half is in the sun. This is how tough it is on day games in the big leagues.
Just another tall, athletic player in this All-American Classic. My goodness, the bottom fell out of that one. So there was a single in the middle off the bat of Chris Betts. But otherwise, the young man scouts call the Bird. We're out of San Clemente, California. About an hour plus north of here, up the I-5 out of San Clemente High School. And a young man that touched 93 miles an hour at Perfect Games National Showcase.
Yeah, Kolby Allard's a very young physically. He looks like he's 16 years old. He's slender. He's going to keep growing, but a big arm and somebody who's come on very fast in the national scouting outlook this summer.
The #1 outfielder in Florida is the man he is facing. Danny Reyes out of Miami Springs, Florida, as that fastball at 93 evens it up at 1-1.
I was a little surprised that Danny Reyes wasn't in the home run derby finals. We'll talk more about the home run derby later, but big, powerful right-handed hitter. A nice breaking ball there for 79 miles an hour from Allard. That's a beautiful pitch.
Again, facing 9 closers.
Well, and again, these guys are throwing all their pitches. That's the most important thing at this point.
Got him to chase a high fastball. We talked about the talent of Brendan Rodgers coming on the air. We saw the big bat. Brett Dolan is standing by in the dugout with the top shortstop prospect in the nation.
Yeah, Darren, Brendan Rodgers joins us. Of course, last night he wins the Rawlings Defensive Player of the Year award. We saw him just miss a pitch, almost hit a home run earlier. Brendan, I know you can do a lot of things, but as far as your game, analyze it for me and tell me what is the best part right now.
Right now, probably I'd say defense. According to the award I won last night, that was pretty special to me. But my hitting's there. I just missed that ball, like you said, but hopefully I get him next at bat.
What do you need to work on now going forward before next summer?
Probably my speed and getting bigger and stronger so I can excel and get faster. So that's pretty much what my main focus is going to be.
You're the #2 player in this class. Some say it's a co-#1 between you and Daz Cameron. What is it like playing against the best of the best in this facility?
There's nothing better, obviously. We're playing with the best kids in the nation, especially playing with Daz. He's my buddy. We're #1 and 2. Those rankings don't really, they mean something, obviously, but he deserves it, man. He works his butt off, and I mean, it's fine to me.
We've had a chance to meet a couple of outstanding players in this class, Daz Cameron and Brendan Rodgers. Darren, back to you.
And while you were having that conversation, thank you, gentlemen. Wicked stuff from Kolby Allard. Brant Stallings just won the aforementioned home run derby, and 3 really tough pitches, including a nasty bender, Darryl, to end it.
Oh, my goodness. He's got a great fastball, staying between 93 and 94 miles an hour, but you're right, the breaking ball is nasty.
And look at him right there. That's a young man. Young man physically. He's listed, I believe, at what, 6 foot, 170 pounds. He's going to grow and get bigger, and there's the breaking ball again. You're a left-handed hitter. Would you like to face that?
I would have to take him opposite field. There's no way I can pull a guy like that. But the thing I love about him is his attitude on the mound. He looks so relaxed. I mean, he's still a kid.
Cornelius Randolph is in the box. That breaking ball just off the plate. 1 ball and 2 strikes to count. That's major league stuff. He's a surfer, Kolby Allard, committed to UCLA.
There we have age 16, so he hasn't even turned 17 years old yet.
The breaking ball followed by the fastball. Remember that name.
Wow.
Left-hander, UCLA commit Kolby Allard out of San Clemente High School. The left-hander, but lefty gives way to righty. A tall, hard-throwing right-hander out of Pennsylvania, Mike Nicorak.
Yeah, Mike Nicorak has been up to 97 earlier this summer. Power curveball with the big vertical break, and when he's on his game, he has as good a stuff as the first 3 pitchers we've seen so far.
Devin Davis has the bat in his hands out of Santa Clarita, California. Valencia High School in that part of the world, and a young man who can hit, certainly. That's why he's here. But boy, does he have good hands around the first base bag.
Yeah, and sometimes I think we overlook it. A first baseman and his defensive skills. Darryl, you saw it for a long time in the big leagues. First baseman can be underappreciated on defense.
Oh, absolutely, and I've seen some of the best. The best first baseman I've ever seen to play that position was J.T. Snow. It was almost like a shortstop playing first base.
Well, he can hit too as he drives that one in the left center field. Daz Cameron circles around that one and hauls it in. We got it just a little bit off the trademark, down off the end of the bat.
We get to see Daz breaking for this ball. Davis drives it into center field. And unappreciated about Daz Cameron, related to other things, he may be the top defensive outfielder, taking after his dad in the 2015 class.
And we can see that the shadows will play a little bit of effect for the position players as well, the outfielders, because he's never been in a ballpark like this before. And the shadows, it can get you going a little left or right, not having a clue on what's going on, as you saw on that play.
He has been certainly just to visit and certainly to hang out with Pops, but never played in a game where they have that third and sometimes fourth deck, if you're including Dodger Stadium in those ranks. Out of College Station, Texas High School, Ryan Johnson. 6'3", 205, left-handed hitter, right-handed thrower. Just a little bit of dip and dive to that fastball. 0-1 the count.
And Nicarac probably going two-seam, four-seam. A lot of pitchers now, you think, oh, they haven't learned the two-seam, four-seam yet, but there's so many places you can learn baseball at a high level now, as we see the 74-mile-an-hour breaking ball. We see pitchers two-seam, four-seam, and as a scout, you have to appreciate what the pitcher's doing out there on the mound when they do it.
Well, that's so advanced for high school kids at this point. I mean, you're talking 10, 15 years ago. It was just a four-seam, let it go. But now these kids are starting to learn how to pitch at a young age, starting to throw their off-speed pitches quite often. And the thing that's interesting to me is they can figure out a changeup. That's the most devastating pitch when you got a guy who's throwing 96, 97 miles an hour.
3-1 the count. Nicarac very open about his two mentors, his uncle Gary, and his brother Steve. Steve had a brief cup of coffee in the minor leagues professionally and has since moved to independent league baseball, hopes to get back. Was a White Sox 32nd round draft pick. And younger bro off the mound makes the play, a little underhanded flip in time to get Ryan Johnson. But just another thought on Nicarac, David. He was a guy that everyone with perfect game and the scouting community was aware of, but he really blew his stock up at the National Showcase in June.
Yeah, he's a young man who's really improved, and this will be a theme later as we see a couple other pitchers. You know, the last time we'd seen him throw, he's throwing mid to upper 80s. He comes to Fort Myers, he's touching 97 miles an hour. And, you know, these young men get bigger and stronger, and the difference between you when you're 16 years old and 18 years old is profound as far as your strength and talent goes.
Cody Clemens to left field. Went after the first pitch, so we'll tell you a little bit more about Cody as we go on. The #1 outfielder in the United States was victorious over Isaiah Gilliam before the contest in the home run challenge. The Georgia Tech commit. I guess that's the kind of power you expect.
Yes, it is. You're that big, you're that strong. Brant's hit a lot of home runs in big games this summer. It's part of his game and will always be part of his game.
So Stallings leaving the yard. The first round of that home run challenge was yesterday at the University of San Diego. They were great hosts to all of the lead-up events. And Stallings, big, tall, strong, and he showed off that big power, 6'4", 210, out of Buford, Georgia. Well, another big arm coming on, getting a call, and it's Bo Burrows, and it's not a surprise it's a young man out of Texas.
Now, velocity and Texas seem to be related. And Daryl, you're a resident of Houston now. Your boys play in Texas. You know, they're probably facing some of these explosive arms back in their level too.
Well, if my kids can throw between 93 and 96, we're staying in Texas. I know that for a fact.
Yeah, Bo Burrows has been compared by scouts to a young Mike Messina. He throws from that overhand slot. He's got the big downer curveball, mid-90s fastball, a well-rounded prospect.
Lively fastball darts over the inside corner to Ryan Mountcastle. Out of Winter Springs, Florida. Haggerty High School, you see he is committed to UCF. Back-to-back heaters, hanging around the mid-90s.
And this is the interesting thing about a game like this. A lot of these hitters have not faced pitching like this, back to back to back. I mean, you may face a guy every once in a while who throws hard, but you're not used to this every inning. And we can see a little late on the fastball right there, but this is a little odd for these guys, and you learn how good a hitter you are in situations like this.
Yeah, we all know in the big leagues they say everybody in the big leagues can hit that 92-mile-an-hour fastball. We haven't seen too many 92-mile-an-hour fastballs. We're seeing 94, 95.
Well, the biggest difference between these kids and the guys in the big leagues is location. If you can figure out throwing 95, 96 with great location, you got a pretty good chance of staying in the big leagues for a long time.
Didn't chase that breaking ball into the dirt you saw a moment ago. Jimmy Tatum, our home plate umpire, just making sure that Chris Betts was all right. In youth and athletic sports, heck, all the way to the major leagues, very cognizant of head injuries and concussions. So Betts is all right. I think his mask isn't okay.
Well, it's always a great relationship between that umpire and the catcher. Anytime you see a ball in the dirt and a guy gets hurt, you see that umpire come out there and basically hand the ball to the pitcher. He's not doing that just to be nice. He's giving that catcher an opportunity to get his breath back and get comfortable again, because evidently he may be in a little pain.
And the same thing happens with the umpire. The umpire's in that same line of fire. We'll see this one again. That'll give you a headache.
Yeah. That is such a tough position to play at this level, at any level for that matter, because you know you're going to get your nicks, you're going to get cut, you're going to get swords, you're going to get balls hit off the mask. It's devastating. That's why I don't like coaching my kids, because I feel like it's up to me to have my kids behind the ditch, because nobody else wants to catch. So as a coach, you say, okay, I'll put my kid back there. I guess that's why my kids don't want me coaching anymore.
It's also why I mentioned before about Chris Betts, 6'1", 215 pounds, maybe, very sturdy, you see the size of the neck there. He already has a man's body, and you'd hate to see a 160-pound 16-year-old getting that fastball off the Damascus.
And that strap popped right on the direct hit right off the back of the mask. So he will go east mask. In the essence of time.
That's nice. You know, a little friendly game here.
That breaking ball almost looked like it turned over, but big bat whip through the zone by Ryan Mountcastle.
Mountcastle, young physically. We can see in the face there, 6'3", 180 pounds, hasn't reached his physical maturity yet, but lots of whip. You said barrel whip there. I'm not sure. That's probably the changeup. I almost said knuckleball. It didn't have much spin and sort of faded into him there.
Diving grab out there, a fine play at second base. Cody Clemens flashing some leather. Again, we told you coming on the air, he's not built like that, he's not an athlete like that, and he just proved it.
Well, I would go out on a limb to say that Roger Clemens could never make a play like that. He's not athletic like that, and I know they'll probably kill me for saying that, but this kid is a good ball player. I see him quite often in Houston. He goes to Memorial High School, very athletic, has good speed, a guy who can play a middle infield position.
A couple of Texans. You saw Burrows, the pitcher. Clemens makes the play. And the fastball at 95 miles an hour is up and away to Kep Brown. This is the new wave of baseball player for my money. Bigger than everybody else, yet can run. And that is Kep Brown as that fastball is inside. Young man out of Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. David, he's 6'5", 210. He has pretty darn good power. But he runs at least below a 6'7", 60 for someone that size.
Yeah, just a great athlete, and he's big. He has some man strength to him. Look here, he knows he's long. He's standing way off the plate, but he has a great ability to get that barrel timed into the zone, even with those long levers. And I kind of liken him to a former Milwaukee Brewer in Corey Hart. Corey Hart, the same physical attributes there.
Good call, the South Carolina commit. I mean, big kid, he's got great speed, and that's kind of the way baseball is going. You know, this is the one thing I get into arguments with people about athletes, what sport they want to play. You get a kid like this who can do it all, you want him to commit to baseball, because that's what the game needs today. We need athletes, and we're starting to get a few more because of the problems or the fears that come with football.
2-2 the count on Kep Brown. Breaking ball over the outside corner, a backwards K on the scorebook. And an incredible pitch.
That would be the location you were talking about, Darryl, right?
Absolutely. I mean, when you can break out a pitch like that, especially after throwing 93, 94 miles an hour, I mean, the hitters are at disadvantage at this point.
Great partnership this year with Nike, a long-term partnership. With more on that, we're back down to Brett Dolan.
Yeah, no doubt, Darren. Mitzi Yonezawa, brand manager of Nike, joins us. They've outfitted the teams this year, but Mitzi, it's not just the uniforms, it's a head-to-toe vapor system.
Yes, that's correct. It's our first year with Perfect Game. We're really excited and proud to supply these players with a head-to-toe vapor system, address head-to-toe, and we're really excited about this lightweight proposition for them.
And tell me about this glove that I'm holding.
Sure, that's a Nike Vapor 360 fielding glove. It is a lightweight, game-ready glove straight out of the box.
It's all about swag, Darren, in these classics. She's not getting any of this back. Back to you.
Good stuff. There's a youth baseball dad down there.
Wait.
You got beaten to it.
Mitzi, wait. I want to get down there and get a couple of those. That's pretty nice.
Fouled off right over their head there. 0-2 the count on Isaiah Gilliam. Fastball over the outside corner. A lot to talk about with Gilliam. We will revisit his summer and his journey as he was already drafted. Gilliam that time goes down on strikes. We'll explain. Pitching dominates. That is Beau Burrows, the Texan, with the big right arm. Southern California, this is the perfect game. All-American Classic, the very best heading into their senior years in high school. A game that has produced 149 first-round draft picks. And it's just been played now for 12 years, including tonight. Right-hander Tristan English hopes he's one of those young men. Big, tall right-hander to the #1 hurler from the right side out of Georgia.
Yeah, Tristan English, really one of the top two-way players in this class. He's also a very accomplished catcher, and he'd pretty much been a primary catcher up until now. But his arm strength, his curveball has improved so much in the last year. Really now a primary pitcher.
Slugger Josh Naylor gets the call from Mississauga, Ontario, Canada. Naylor not committed to a college program. The #1 player in the country, according to Perfect Game. So essentially, he's the #1 first baseman in North America then.
Yeah, we had our first All-American from Canada last year in Gareth Morgan, who was the Seattle Mariners, I believe, second-round pick in this past draft. And Josh Naylor played a lot with Morgan on various Canadian junior national teams and the Ontario Blue Jays, and now the big power threat, you know, out of Canada.
And I know we've talked about him has same features as Prince Fielder, but he has that kind of pop. I mean, he put on an exhibition during batting practice. I mean, I hadn't seen that many balls go out of his ballpark. I've never seen that many balls go out of his ballpark. It was very impressive watching him.
At 15 years old, was a member of the Canadian junior national team. Little roller. That one not carrying like it did earlier. And a nice play from behind home plate. Nick Fortis started the game behind home plate, hops out and makes a fine play. That'll catch your attention.
No doubt Nick Fortis, some is better than the parts type player. He's an outstanding instinctual player, a very high IQ player, but obviously has the defensive tools and the offensive tools to stand out at this level. Real quick out there, calls off the pitcher undoubtedly. Strong throw to first base.
And it's so impressive seeing kids this age not panic. That's the one thing you love seeing, because in that play there, it's very easy to freak out and scream something at the pitcher, tell him to get it, or you get it and fire it to right field. This is neat about these guys. They're very calm. They understand how good they are.
Coming on the air, we introduced you to Ke'Bryan Hayes. I would imagine you baseball fans remember Charlie Hayes' dad. There's that communication.
Yeah, straight step and throw. Perfect for first base.
Hayes out of Tomball, Texas. Concordia Lutheran High School. Does well in the classroom, takes care of that business up above, and has been a 3.5 GPA his entire high school career. Ayalo out of Pennsylvania, the second baseman, can also play in the middle of the infield, makes that play in a 4-3 ground out.
We'll see more of Ke'Bryan Hayes later in the game. He's as similar to his dad as Daz Cameron was to Mike Cameron, even facially, in body type, every way. The Hayes didn't fall far from the tree there.
Well, it's funny. I told Ke'Bryan before the game, I was like, son, you're a pretty good player, but I don't know if you can hit that fastball like your dad. His dad was locked on dead red, and if you try to get it by him, he killed you.
1-0 the count with the breaking ball outside. Caden Grenier out of Henderson, Nevada. Attends a fine school in Henderson. Bishop Gorman, great football power, good basketball, and fine baseball as well.
Oh yeah, they are the powerhouse in Nevada. One, I'm not sure how many state championships, but well into double figures.
His dad, that's where the baseball comes from, worked for the Las Vegas Stars, AAA team there for 15 years. He squared that one up, lines that one directly to center field, right to the glove of Daz Cameron. Well, the pitchers, maybe they're getting to him a little bit. It's just a new one comes out of the pen every inning. A top prospect. We're bringing this man out of the pen. Trevor Hoffman will join us in the broadcast booth. Q4 hosting all of us with Perfect Game, MLB Network all week long. This is your town, and you've been a great host.
It's been my pleasure. Certainly trying to carry the torch that Tony left all of us to carry. A great example of what it meant to be a big part of your community and give back. So I'm blessed to be a part of it.
How amazed are you watching these high school kids and the stuff that they have? I mean, I'm just floored because a lot of these kids look like they can be in the minor leagues like today, like AA.
They really could. I mean, the physicality that they're displaying is over the top. I'm impressed that with the velocity and the breaking pitch, the secondary stuff that we're seeing off the mound, that it isn't overpowering our hitters. The hitters are being able to match that as well. So great play by Clemens at second to show the ability with the glove, too.
Joe Demers is the right-handed pitcher out of Martinez, California, College Park High School. He is a young man that reached up and got 95 miles an hour in Fort Myers at the National Showcase in Florida. Nick Fortis with a bat in his hands. Demers gets over there and covers first. Well, some of the athletes, Trevor, we just see that play there. It's starting to happen. Darryl, no offense, but some of the athletes are staying on the mound these days.
Well, I think that's kind of where the athletes should be at.
Stop. Okay, this interview's
That was
over.
a layup right there,
Right there. Cut this off right here.
There's so many things that, you know, the ability to see kids move around on the diamond, to see their athleticism displayed in other positions they play, shows their ability to how good of an athlete they really are.
Well, it shows how difficult it is for guys to throw 94, 95 miles an hour. Because if you get a kid who can do that, I don't care what position he's at, you want to put him on the mound.
Yeah, and you certainly want to protect that too.
Sure.
We have to understand the age that they are. They are still growing, even though they're as big as they are. But you can't get overzealous with the fact that they're lighting up radar guns, are able to command the pitch in the strike zone. You still have to be very, very vigilant with their arms.
I know you had an opportunity to talk to a lot of the kids, especially the pitchers. Has any kid come up to you and basically say, show me the changeup?
Yeah, there was a kid early Friday that we brought down from LA that was fiddling with the circle change, and this, you know, same conversation. It was kind of slipping out of my hand. I feel like I'm getting underneath it and pushing it uphill, and I go, you know what, it might not be for you, but I'll talk to you a little bit about what I did. He went out and used it that night and said I actually had a little bit more feel for it, so he was pretty pleased.
And Darren, the advantage of working at the MLB Network, when they showed the highlights of Trevor striking people out, they didn't show me. I made sure they didn't do that. That's the advantage right there.
It was hard contact, that's why.
0-1 the count on Jahmai Jones. Jones out of Roswell, Georgia, struck out back in the first inning. A moment ago we saw John Aiello, the young man out of Pennsylvania. He was erased on that fly out to center field. John actually squared that ball up, the switch hitting shortstop and second baseman. So the count is 1-2. 1 ball and 2 strikes to count on Jones. Broken bat roller towards center field. He's got good speed, and into center field it goes, right under the glove of Nick Shumpert, who took over for Grenier at shortstop. Well, you mentioned Tony, and obviously you're certainly one of your mentors and friends getting his way into the big leagues. This community and baseball lost a very special man this year in Tony Gwynn.
We did. Obviously, the talents on the field speak for themselves, but as I alluded earlier, it was his contributions off the field, and community leader, a gentleman that went to school here, played his entire professional career here, and then went back to his alma mater. It was full circle for him, and that impact will be felt for a long time here in San Diego. Someone that will never be replaced.
Joe Demers working on Daz Cameron.
Without a doubt, the best hitter I've ever seen. And the thing I loved about Tony Gwynn was I played my first 7 years in the American League. And I had the opportunity to come here for the first time to see him play. And I asked him a lot of questions. And the funny thing he told me is like, okay, he said, I'll talk to you, but I'll talk to you on the last day of the series, because I don't want to get you going here the first day and you come out and beat us. But he was so easy to talk to, and he gave so much advice. It's amazing how a guy like that would love to share all his knowledge.
And that's the person he was. Loved hitting, loved to be able to share. You had to ask, though. You know, he wasn't go out of his way. If you had the ability or the wherewithal to go up and ask him those questions, he'd give it to you, but he's not going to go out of his way to do that.
3-0 the count on Daz Cameron. High bouncing ball. Again, the athletes are on the mound. We have one right up here in our booth. Our host all week long, Trevor Hoffman. Thank you for stopping by.
Thanks for having me, guys. Doing a great job.
You know, it's one thing to be the honorary chairman of an event and show up at all the right places and smile and educate, but when you turn it into opening your home That's the next step. What a quality individual.
Absolutely, and he's always been that way. I mean, I never had the opportunity to play on the same team with him, but I've noticed from afar, and I've talked to him a number of times, and now that we're both retired, I get a chance to even talk to him more, and just a great all-around guy.
I know there's so few people in baseball that are closely associated with their city now.
Yeah.
You know, players move around more. We obviously talking about Tony Gwynn, but Trevor Hoffman, one of those.
Kyle Dean taking that first pitch left-handed. He wears number 19, and he honors Tony Gwynn. Kyle Dean is out of San Diego, California. That was his hero. He took that pitch. That was a plan to honor Tony Gwynn.
What an outstanding gesture for the young man, Kyle Dean.
Sometimes you forget that these are high school kids. They're a little more grown up than what we expect, and that's such a class act to do that on the first pitch.
1-1 the count. Hits it hard out to short. Brendan Rodgers, there's been some juggling defensively, but he is still out there playing shortstop.
And we got to see a changeup. We had Trevor up in the booth, and Austin Smith right away shows a quality changeup and gets out number 1 with it.
From one pitching great to another, we send it down to Brett Dolan, father son, the last name Clemens.
Absolutely, Darren. Roger and Cody Clemens with me. Last night, Trevor Hoffman at the banquet joked that the Clemens family's had 18 different boys come through this game. That's not the case, but Cody, your brother Casey was here a couple of years ago. Did he prepare you at all for this event?
He didn't tell me much. He just said it's just a great experience to come out here and go to Rady Children's Hospital, and what they do, Perfect Game, everything that they do is just a great thing. And you know, watching him on TV, it was fun watching him. It's kind of weird that I'm doing the same thing, just following him in his footsteps.
Now, Roger, you've had 3 baseball playing sons, all different skill sets and body types.
Yeah, they're all a little different, and you know, I take offense to what Daryl said upstairs. I mean, they did get a little bit of their athleticism from Dad, but I know not much, not on those kind of plays. But they're enjoying it, they're loving the game, and like I said, this is a pretty special event for all of them. I'm very impressed with the arms that are going out there right now.
How do you balance being a 7-time Cy Young Award winner and being Dad?
Well, just that. I mean, when the boys or their friends ask me baseball questions, we talk about that and the professional part of it, and then other than that, I'm throwing batting practice, and I'm just that. I'm just the dad out there and really trying to help the boys.
And Cody, finally, what's the best piece of advice your dad gives you, or what does he tell you about playing baseball and being a good person on and off the field?
He just is my coach. He does everything that has to do with baseball for me, and he just works with me every day, checks my swing, everything, fielding ground balls, make sure my head's down, everything.
There's the Clemens boys, and Roger's still talking about Daryl upstairs.
Did you hear that, Dale? I check his swing.
Oh, God, I don't know what to say about that. I've seen you hit before, so I don't know if that's a good idea.
1-2 the count. One of those big arms that Roger's talking about that are impressing the legendary right-hander, Austin Smith, out of Boynton Beach, Florida. And on a 1-2, it's fouled off. David, tell us a little bit more about Austin Smith, the right-hander.
Austin Smith, big power arm, up to 95 miles an hour, and we think there's more there. It's such a loose arm, it's free, and he's obviously big and strong now, but you watch the way the arm works right here. This is going to be a power fastball guy now and in the future. 96 on that one.
And you kind of look at the number, 21. Kind of reminds that guy we just talked to.
That's exactly right. Maybe that's why Roger very impressed. There's a breakdown of what David was telling you about. Into the dirt it goes. Pulled the string back on that one. So you talk about taking part in perfect game events. This is Austin's 15th perfect game event he's taken part in. Back in 2011, it was his first ever event. He reached 75 miles an hour. At the WWBA Championship, the World Wood Bat Championship this summer, he reached 94 miles an hour. And he's even topped that tonight. Mitchell Hansen lifts that one into left field. And that one is hauled in out there by Kyle Tucker. We put 4 in the books. Trevor Hoffman, Roger Clemens. Who's next? Speaking of counting, you can count the wins, but it'll take you a long time. 354 wins. But serving this father of 4 boys as a bit of a coach and showing you the kind of shape he is still in, he gathered all of the players together that work on the mound and walk them through behavior in a bullpen, ways to get your body ready, ways to get in shape. And Clemens, this is where the pitchers really paid attention.
Stand up. I'm just trying to get loose here about 3 minutes. I can pull this left side, stand in front, take it from here. Pull it down.
Invaluable, Daryl, invaluable.
You know, he did that about 3 years ago for my kids. I was coaching my kids. I had no idea what to do on the mound, and I had him come out and talk to the kids. It was the most intense 2 hours I've ever seen anyone give a teaching lesson on pitching, and it was amazing. Now my oldest son, he wants to be a pitcher because of that outing he gave my kids.
I think your kid wants to be a pitcher because you have him catching.
That probably makes sense.
Brendan Rodgers in the hole. No balls and 1 strike the count. Last inning, we saw Joe Demers work very effectively, just allowed the 1 hit, so he put a 0 on his resume. He gives way to Kyle Molnar, young man out of Aliso Viejo, California. The #1 right-handed pitcher in this great baseball state of California.
Yeah, Molnar, very polished. He has the power arm. We've been seeing a lot of this so far, but he's one of the most polished pitchers in the United States. He throws a slider and a curve. He spots the ball with maturity. He knows how to spout that fastball.
To the left side, long throw. Shumpert across the diamond in time. Nick Shumpert has stepped into play, some shortstop for Grenier. Showed the range, showed the arm.
Showed the arm, definitely. That's a 2-part play. First you have to get to the ball, then you have to have the arm strength and the accuracy to get the out.
Well, you look at the great footwork. He got his body behind that throw and came up and threw a complete dart to first base.
Young man out of Lone Tree, Colorado. You mentioned Dad Terry. Mom Dakita is here as well.
And I know for a fact Dad had no chance of throwing anyone out in that situation. And Terry knows what I'm talking about.
Well, you are just trashing the dad and the lack of athleticism.
I'm killing him. I'm telling you right now, I'm killing him.
Daniel Reyes. He struck out back in the 2nd inning. Molnar, a little lower arm angle. Got some dart and dive on that one. It misses outside. 3-0 the count.
Yeah, Molnar is a young man who got his velocity early. Like I said, he's a very good athlete. Really hasn't added much velocity in the last 2 years, but has added that ability to throw strikes and mix pitches. And we see a little weak fly ball to right field there off Reyes' bat, and an example of spotting the fastball and getting some movement on it.
Well, we got to remember that these are still kids, you know, 16, 17-year-olds. They're going to fill out a little bit, and he's, you know, 6'3", 205. That's what it states. He's going to get a little bit bigger. He's going to get a little stronger. And he could be, I mean, if you're throwing at this point 94 miles an hour, just expect him to get a little bit better with that as the years come ahead.
Brant Stallings. Changeup dives down and away. 1-0 the count to Stallings, the big slugger. Young man who is really knocking it over the boards in the classroom. A 4.0 GPA. There's that fastball at the knees. 1-1 the count to Brant.
Darren, I almost feel like I have to jinx the pitchers here. They're on such a roll. We've seen 9 pitches this inning. We've seen a lot of those 9 to 11 pitch innings. The command has been great, and a lot of 1, 2, 3 innings. We need to see some more of these hitters. Not with pitches like that. There's that changeup again. Wow.
I just shouldn't see more changeups like that.
Yeah, I mean, when you, like I said, when you're throwing the 94 mile an hour fastball and you come back with a changeup, as a hitter, you're at a disadvantage.
There's a breaking ball and a nice take. Nice work by Chris Betts, by the way, back behind home plate. Not taking anything for granted.
And you know, a catcher has that mentality when there's nobody on base. He doesn't need to block that ball and sacrifice his body, but he's doing it because he's used to doing it. He's a ball player. That's what a catcher does.
2s across the board. Again, that lively fastball, dip, dive, and dart. That was about a 93 mile an hour sinker under the bat of Brant Stallings. Pitching and defense thus far dominating the scoreless contest. The best players heading into their senior year in high school. With that in mind, tonight's Rawlings Gold Glove defensive play of the game. For your money, Daryl, all about the arm.
It's all about the arm. You're setting your feet. As a shortstop, a young player, it's always difficult to figure that out early. But you see Mr. Shumpert doing a great job of coming through with a strong throw to first.
His teammates face a tall, lanky right-hander, a very unique young man who takes the baseball and goes to work.
And it's still a frame that you can see him filling out more. We see how narrow his chest is there just looking at that. But while he wasn't able to throw hard while he was developing, he learned a very good curveball. He learned a very good changeup, maybe the best changeup I've seen in this class, at least before today. And so he's a complete pitcher right now, and it's just a matter of getting stronger.
And it may be an advantage for him not throwing as hard when he was younger because he had to focus on his other pitches.
Exactly.
Chris Betts ahead in the count, 1-0. Gets a swing and a miss, 1-1 the count. Betts out of Long Beach Wilson High School. And as we told you earlier, the #1 catcher in the United States. Fastball over the outside corner. Interesting thing about Tristan with regard to protecting his arm, as you talked about, is he is very intelligent, very into medicine. He's already committed to go to Vandy. He says, I'm going to Vandy, unless somebody dramatically changes his mind with regard to the draft. But he's a certified medical administrative assistant. He knows how to be an EKG tech already. A very intelligent young man.
I can't really speak to that, so I'm just going to let that one go. That's incredible.
So I will ask you, David Romsey. Obviously, you watch the tools of a player first, but the mind of a player comes into the discussion at some point, doesn't it?
Oh, there's no question about it. Somebody who can dedicate a part of their life to something like Mackenzie has can dedicate a part of their life to baseball as well. You have that, that discipline, the drive to be successful, and you can take it between different parts of life. And Tristan McKenzie obviously has a lot of different areas in life that he wants to excel at.
And a fastball that's on you. We have a great partnership with TrackMan, who gathers data at a very high level off the pitcher's hand and measures with regard to extension. According to our partners with TrackMan, Tristan McKenzie comes at you with 7 feet 1 inches of extension.
And there's that changeup we've talked about before. He's thrown a couple, but to put that in perspective, Darren, TrackMan does their stuff at most major league and minor league ballparks, and any extension over 7 feet is exceptional. I think Jordan Walden of the Braves gets out about 7'4", 7'5" regularly, and that's the gold standard in Major League Baseball. And Tristan McKenzie with those long
and sons and great baseball. Brett Dolan has more. Brett.
Darren, that is the theme. Charlie and Ke'Bryan Hayes from Tomball, Texas joins us. And Ke'Bryan, your dad played 14 years in the major leagues. What has he done to help you the most?
He just taught me how to prepare in the fall. It doesn't matter like playing games so much, just practicing. You want to practice hard, you want to work hard, get stronger, just get tougher and get stronger in the off season.
And Charlie, it's amazing the talent level we're seeing in this competition that your son's getting a chance to go up against. He's part of it. Are you continually amazed at how maybe the game has changed with these young kids and the caliber of play that they're at right now?
Yeah, it blows me away. I was watching these kids all week, and I think I was in AA by the time I could, got up to where these kids are at. But it's amazing. It's a testament of how hard these guys work. I know my kid puts in a lot of work. We put a lot of emphasis on working instead of games, and he's kind of bought into it. So it's nice to see him get rewarded for all the hard work he puts in.
I'm going to put you on the spot. How does his game resemble yours?
Everybody says that, it looks like me out there, but he's a little stronger than I am, a little faster than I was, and just hope he turned out to be a whole lot better than I was.
Into that?
Yes, sir.
Honest answer. The Hayes boys back upstairs to Darren.
All right, so Daryl, the theme has been that you have made sure to bury every dad, guys that you play with and against. What gives with Charlie here?
One of my favorite teammates ever. I mean, Charlie and I played together in San Francisco with the Giants, and one of my favorite teammates. And Charlie's funny because I saw him a few weeks ago. He's in Houston as well, and he's out there scouting my
3 to 2,600 and low below 2,300 revolutions per minute. So we introduce you to Drew Finley. Finley number 2 on that list. Finley takes the mound. He's a guy, David, that won't throw 97 miles an hour, but boy, is his curveball a true hammer.
Oh, and not only is it a true hammer, but he hides the ball very well in his delivery. Hitters don't see it until it's right on them, and they don't have any time to adjust.
So great partnership with TrackMan. Another gentleman, a young man out of San Diego, California. Already told you about Kyle Dean. Here is Drew Finley. Cornelius Randolph is who he faces to start things. And the fastball up and away, 1-0 the count.
Now, Darryl, of course, I'm saying he's more of a pitcher, doesn't have the big fastball. First pitch is still 91.
Yeah,
perspective there.
I mean, if you, I would take that better as far as a pitcher than a thrower any day, because he knows what he's doing on the mound.
The first baseman, Josh Naylor, makes the play. The Canadian to the bag and in time for the first out of the inning. Well, he's got some great baseball ties as well. When you talk about Finley working out there, and his father, David, director of player personnel for the Boston Red Sox. And Dad played for a while in the A's organization. So Dad travels a lot but brings home a lot of baseball knowledge.
And we saw this whole week with some of the dads who've got major league time coming out here and talking to a lot of the players. That's so important. And as a dad, you know, it's even more important from my standpoint because I finally got someone listening. Because my kids don't listen. I'm sure the same thing with a lot of these players out here who's got major league time. Their kids doesn't listen. But these kids are really soaking it up this week.
Ranging to his left, making the play in time for the out. Just came in at shortstop. Lucas Wakamatsu, two young gentlemen honored to play in this game out of San Diego, California. Let's get to meet both of them.
Kyle Dean, I go to Rancho Bernardo High School, and I'm an outfielder.
Drew Finley, Rancho Bernardo, right-handed pitcher.
My favorite baseball player is Mike Trout. He is my all-time hero.
Roger Maris, he's my favorite all-time player.
I gotta eat cookies before a game. Taste good, feel good, you know, play good, all that kind of stuff. Chocolate chip from Macadamia Nut. It's so good.
I modeled my baseball game after Cole Hamels and Roger Clemens. When I started pitching, my dad said, model yourself after this guy. I feel like I can have a lot of success if I stick to my game.
It's always a pleasure. If they're good enough to make it, that's the key. If they have the baseball skill set to have local kids. And they were certainly a big part of all of these players gathering together. They're aware of Rady Children's Hospital because it's their local children's hospital. All of these players combined to raise more than $50,000 for Rady.
Well, I thought the best part of what Drew Finley said was he's going to stick to his game. And that's important, especially with an all-star atmosphere like this. You see a lot of these guys who are considered better than you. Sometimes you want to change things up and try something different. These guys stick with it, and you saw the curveball. I mean, he's going to stick with that, and I tell you, he's going to go a long way with that pitch.
You may not understand exactly what it means with TrackMan. We'll just simplify it. It tells you that that is a really, really good curveball. Talented left-hander out of the great state of Louisiana, Darryl Hamilton, your home state. David, tell us more.
Well, Hogan Harris is a young man. Just telling Darryl, has improved tremendously in the last year. He's gained about 8-10 miles an hour on his fastball. Very unconventional delivery. You'll see how cross-body he is at release, but the stuff is good, up to 94 on the fastball, and he really paints both corners, which is unusual when you have the cross-body delivery to be able to get the ball to your glove side. But Harris has shown me all summer that he can do that.
Out of St. Thomas More High School in, as we say in Louisiana, Lafayette, Louisiana.
And he faces Ryan Johnson to start things. Johnson rolled back to the mound back in the second inning. Young man out of College Station, Texas. And the fastball runs high and inside. 2-0 the count.
I think the toughest thing for a lot of these kids, especially the pitchers, is to sit back and wait for their body to develop. Now, you'd love to be throwing 95 in the 10th grade. But a lot of these guys are not going to do that. So if you start off slow and work on your other pitches, then once that fastball comes around, you're able to be more of a complete pitcher.
Tied him up with that fastball a moment ago. 3 balls and 1 strike the count. For the left-hander, Marucci Elite is his travel team, Louisiana-based travel team as well. And Marucci Elite took part in Perfect Game Super 25 this year. A true tournament. The rosters cannot change throughout the qualifiers, the regionals, and the super regionals. And out of Camelback Ranch, a spring training home of the White Sox and of the Dodgers, he and his mates, who played all year long together, no players added, won that national championship. Super 25, brand new by Perfect Game, ages 9U all the way to 17U. So a lot of people, Darryl, will talk about the challenges of travel ball, if you will, how the rosters change a lot. the concept on this tournament is more similar to high school baseball, where the rosters stay the same.
I like that because you become more familiar with the guys you're playing with, and you don't just throw somebody out there to play because they are a better player or they may fit your team a lot better. It's more of a team concept, and I think all leagues should be like that. I love that part of it.
Again, Marucci Elite Super 25 17U national champions. It was warm, no doubt. It was warm in the great state of Arizona. Cody Clemens has that fastball come into his kitchen, and he fouls that one off. 1-2 the count. Cody volunteers at his family's foundation, does a lot of community work, the Roger Clemens Foundation. Houston Memorial Hospital, his dad and mom's foundation, Mom Debbie, part of building a children's wing on one of the local hospitals.
And they do a great job in Houston to support a lot of charities. And 4 great kids. I mean, 4 sons. It's pretty impressive.
Pitches outside. Corey, Kobe, Casey, and then of course Cody in the batter's box. Corey, the oldest, a chef.
Yes, I've been to his restaurant. My kids love it.
A Clemens with a base hit into left field, slaps it hard the other way. So Hogan Harris has a bit of a burden to deal with, and we have our first, bubbling anyway, gurgling up some offense.
Yeah, a little bit of offense here. First batter reach via the first walk of the game. Now we have Cody Clemens up, goes with the outside pitch, drives it right what a young Darryl Hamilton would have done. Takes it the other way and safe on first with a single.
Well, I love he stayed in on the lefty and went the other way. I think a lot of kids at this age get a little pool happy. Heck, a lot of big leaguers get a little pool happy. Cody stayed with that pitch in the left field, and I refuse to believe that his dad has been teaching him in the batter's box.
Yeah, just put another notch on the dig board from Darryl Hamilton, and I don't mean like dig me. Lefty on lefty here as Naylor takes a fastball. 1-0 the count.
Josh Naylor is somebody who is pull happy. I don't think he's noticing whether it's a left-hander or a right-hander in the box. He tends to open his front side a bit early, but he's up there for one thing, and that's to take that big cut
you just
saw.
Yeah, you were saying 1-1 the count. He's got a big arm too. We saw that at the showcase from the outfield, throwing 92 miles an hour from first base, 93.
Yeah, he's upper 80s from the mound. He really doesn't pitch much. It doesn't look like the conventional pitcher's build, obviously, but it's a second plus tool to go with the raw power.
Pickoff throw, snap throw, just back in time. Jonathan India applying the tag out of Coral Gables, Florida. It looks like still Nick Fortis working behind the plate. Boy, that was quite a throw.
Yeah, the thing about Fortis, he is the most accurate thrower that we've seen in this class. And that ball had just been even 6 inches over, but it's essentially throwing a strike to second, and that's what Nick Fortis does behind the plate.
You saw the footwork, a great footwork for a catcher at this age. That's pretty impressive. I mean, he gets behind his throws. A great throw, but you're right, a little bit to the left, would have been dead at second.
3-1 the count, battling command a little bit, this talented left-hander Hogan Harris. Clemens is at first. There was a walk in front of him, and on 3-1 he tears that Nike jersey open.
You could almost call him out for stepping out of the batter's box. His lead foot here is so open and coming out all the way around. That's a we mentioned Javier Baez before. That's a Javier Baez swing from the left side.
Hold that one out to short. There's no one retired on that play as it trickles into right field, and a run scores on a miscue by the East squad. The West jumps on top by a score of 1-0.
Well, one thing you get in these type of games is an all-star game, is that you don't get infielders who've worked together before, and obviously a little disconnect on the time coming across the base there between the shortstop and the second baseman. And big Jonathan Naylor gets the first run in with a ground ball.
Oh, it's funny. We talk about how young these kids are, but sometimes we see plays and we say they are high school kids. And right there, rather than taking the automatic out and slowing it down, not thinking about the double play, just getting out, throws the ball in the right field, run scores.
So 1-0 here in the bottom half of the 6th inning. Runner on the move, and with a little bit of a slide, caught everyone napping. Now, I covered Prince Fielder for years. and he would do that on occasion too. Carlos Lee, another big guy, a really good base runner. It's all about taking advantage of what's given to you.
Well, if you get those infielders on their back heels and not expecting something, you got to take advantage of it. And hey, this is an all-star game. These kids are going in their senior year of baseball. Why not show the speed a little bit? Let guys know that, let these scouts know that you can do a few other things.
Parker Kelly is introduced to all of us. Young man out of Portland, Oregon. His first at bat of the game, and it's a breaking ball inside. Young man out of Westview High School. And the young man who's a #1 third baseman in the state of Oregon takes one there.
And indeed the first perfect game All-American ever from the state of Oregon.
So a visit.
Looks like the East manager, Tim Lowry, going to the mound. Lowry from Cosby High School in Midlothian, Virginia.
Yeah, more than 400 wins, 423 wins. The Hampton Roads area of Virginia. Names like Justin and B.J. Upton, David Wright, Mark Reynolds. On that staff, Manny Hermosillo Jr. His dad is across the way, the legendary coach in the other dugout. And Eddie Johnson, the head coach of Mater Dei Catholic here in Chula Vista, the Crusaders, here in the San Diego area. Base is full. Caden Grenier now with an opportunity. As Harris misses inside, 1-0 the count.
Grenier only 5'11", 180 pounds, but lines sharply to Daz Cameron in center field his first time up, and ball really comes off his bat hard for, well, I guess we'd call a below average size player for this game, Daryl.
Below size. I mean, that's funny because a lot of these kids, I mean, I thought they were in their second year pro ball, how big they are at this point.
Yeah, 5'11", 180, as you mentioned, breaking ball and a good one. He's committed to head to Oregon State. Las Vegas Titans, his travel team. I told you earlier, Bishop Gorman High School. Over the inside corner, down he goes. Harris finds the strike zone there. Good fastball.
Good fastball in a good spot, and obviously Harris maybe was the first player we've seen who was a little overexcited coming to the mound, and Coach Lowry calmed him down, and he really located his pitch as well.
And a great opportunity for a confidence builder. You come out there and you see everybody's going 3 up, 3 down, then you give up a couple of hits, you hit a batter. You may get down on yourself, but if you can get out of this inning, you can build on this and say, hey, look, I got in trouble, but I got out with the best of the best.
1-0 the count to Kyle Dean. Rancho Bernardo High School here in San Diego. He was a heck of a talented club soccer player as a young man. Finally gave it up. His brother, though, probably will play the sport in college as a goalie. Andrea and Alan, mom and dad, had a chance to early this summer spend some time with Kyle Dean as, I guess you'd say, one of the hosts here in San Diego. And if you're just joining us, he wears number 19 to honor Tony Gwynn. He's a right-handed hitter, and the first pitch that he took in his first at bat, he did left-handed to honor Tony. 2-1 the count. Now, as for Hogan Harris, if he ever needs to do any work on the side, maybe throw a bullpen in his backyard, his mom was an All-American catcher, softball at Louisiana Lafayette, Mom Tiffany. Breaking ball skitters on by. Did it get the hitter? It did not. So a run scores on a wild pitch. So worked a little bit uphill this inning, battling it a bit is talented Hogan Harris.
Yeah, it's a control issue at this point. You're right. I think he's a little excited right now. He wants to throw hard, but sometimes when you reach back and try to throw a little bit harder than what you're used to doing, you can't find the strike zone. I think at this point that's what he's doing.
Pretty athletic play, jumping over that pitch by Dean. Pretty obvious it didn't, from that angle at least, it didn't clip. There's that soccer skill maybe with the footwork.
There you go.
Yeah, and with Hogan Harris, I saw Hogan Harris pitch about 10 days ago in a national level event on the East Coast, the event the professional scouts run, and he threw 3 innings and probably threw about 30 pitches in 3 innings. It was just dialed into the corners. So it's you know, you can't be perfect every day, but he has certainly shown the scouts this summer that he can have pinpoint control with the quality stuff.
And that's what's so amazing about this game. There's sometimes you can come out there and you look like the greatest pitcher that ever pitched, and other times you have trouble finding the strike zone. the mental part of the game is so huge, and these young men are starting to figure that out as they continue to play travel squad and playing in perfect game situations like this. You learn a lot about yourself, and if you can handle the pressure going to the big leagues.
Allow us to introduce you to Lucas Wakamatsu. This is his first at bat out of Keller, Texas, Keller High School. His father, Don Wakamatsu, the bench coach for the Kansas City Royals on Ned Yost's staff, as that one is inside to Lucas. Number 2 shortstop in the state of Texas, number 10 overall in the country.
Yeah, talented young man who's going to keep getting better. You can see how slender and young he is. He has one of the younger bodies here, but it's going to fill out. And he's just going to get stronger, and also a switch hitter. You play a premium position and you're a switch hitter, you're ahead of the game right there.
Again, 6'3", ran a 6'7", 60 at the National Showcase. There's that theme again.
Yeah, it's all about
speed.
Yeah, the one thing you can't teach is speed. And that's what Major League Scouts are talking a lot about. You can't teach speed. All this other stuff, you could probably tweak guys here and there, because all these guys are athletic enough to where their baseball skills are a little bit further than others. But speed, you can't teach.
His dad had a great piece of advice that he shared with all of us. Dad with a long minor league career and had a cup of coffee in the major leagues, and now has had a long coaching career, his brief managing time with the Seattle Mariners. That one is low. His father told him, work hard, cherish, and have fun. Cherish the game, which is interesting. I mean, that's a kind of a passionate way of saying respect the game, enjoy where you are, and Dad said have fun too.
Well, the one thing I've noticed, especially younger kids, and I say in that 11, 12, and 13 range, they don't have fun. They put a lot of pressure on themselves, and next thing you know, the game is done. You know, his dad played, like you said, got a cup of coffee in the big leagues, but he got to the big leagues, managed in Seattle. A great job there for my manner, and currently the Kansas City Royals bench coach. You learn a lot from adversity, and this game can really bring you back to earth, but the big picture, it's still a game.
That one gets by, takes a tough bounce, so the wildness continues as the runners move up. 3-0 is the score, and Trenton Clark is the batter. This is the first at bat for Trenton Clark out of Fort Worth, Texas. Out of Richland High School. And Trenton, the number 3 outfielder in the state of Texas, committed to be a Red Raider with Texas Tech.
And Darryl, you remember talking before the game who I compared. Oh, line drive right off Hogan there.
Good effort, but he flips it away, trying to hustle to knock it down. 2 more runs will score. A little head-first slide into second base. Let's hope Harris is okay. I believe he is. Scampered after it. You love the effort, but the errant flip cost him a bit.
Well, we're going to see on the replay where he caught him, knocked him off the mound, with the awareness to get up and try to make a spectacular play, flipping with his glove. Does get his glove up, knocks it down a little bit. Once you get it down like that, I figured there was absolutely no chance of getting out at first. Kind of tried to do a little Mark Burley, flipping the glove there to get it to first.
And he probably has no way of knowing it, but Trenton Clark, one of the faster players in this game, probably about 3.9 to 4 flat down to first base from the left side, so not much of a chance there.
So Tim Lowry is out. He makes a change, and the call to that bullpen out there in center field is made. And Juan Hillman Jr. comes trotting in. Fun things to watch to start this game has been the arms and the job they have done. You saw Drew Finley, the right-hander. Now they give way to Juan Hillman, the left-hander. Hillman, 6'2", 180. Number 2 left-handed pitcher in the state of Florida, number 6 in the nation.
This is a young man who's very projectable. You hear scouts use that word projectable a lot. He's going to get better. He's already 90-92. Has a great feel for pitching. I think we're going to see an outstanding changeup or two here. I know, Darryl, you love that pitch, and I would advise you to look for it from Juan Hillman.
Fires a strike, ends things quickly. Last night he was the Baseball America Pitcher of the Year award winner. Teammates call him Moose. You tell us more, please.
Well, Cole Mackay is a complete pitcher as well. You know, we saw on that on the little thing before the power fastball, but he has a well-rounded life. We saw that, but also a well-rounded approach on the mound where he can throw the curveball for strikes. He gets downhill, nice changeup, gets some life to it. So an all-around good young man, a good all-around pitcher.
Isaiah Gilliam goes after the first pitch, does so with a Louisville Slugger in his hands. On that very topic, let's go back down to Brett Dolan in the third base dugout.
Yeah, Kyle Schlegel, he is the Executive Vice President of Global Marketing at Louisville Slugger, joins us from the dugout. One of the many proud sponsors of this event. And your company has been around forever, but you're undergoing some major changes.
We are. We've been around for 130 years in the game. I feel like we've laid a pretty good foundation, and we've been making a lot of changes here in the last couple years that we feel sets us up for an even better next 130 years. And one of those is right here, MLB Prime. For the first time in the company's history, we're giving the exact same wood we send to the pros right here to these kids.
I was going to say, swag is a big part of these classics, and you set these kids up extremely well with all kinds of bats to take home.
We're not letting them go home empty-handed for sure. We have a brand new line, completely reinvented line of BB Core bats coming out at the end of this week, actually. And each one of these kids is taking one of those home, and hope they tell some friends about it.
Louisville Slugger, one of the many proud partners of the Perfect Game All-American Classic. Darren, back up to you.
Great stuff, Brett and Kyle. Thank you very much. Eli Marrero, the count is 1-1 on Marrero. We told you of his father of Cuban descent who played in the major leagues from 98 to 2006. The interesting thing to me about Dad, and we'll talk about son right away, is his diversity. Dad played a ton behind the plate. 274 games, played nearly 400 games in the outfield. Young man out of Miami, he's committed to Mississippi State. Any comparisons to Dad?
Oh, yes. I've seen Eli Marrero Jr. play center field at a very high level in Atlanta this summer, and Emerson actually at the Lake Point complex. Obviously a very high level catcher, a switch hitter, just a very versatile player.
Cole Mackay with a fly ball to left field. Out there to haul that one in is Kyle Dean. I think we all forget how long the career for Eli Marrero was. There you see it for right at a decade.
And you talked about the diversity, the fact that he goes from behind the plate to the outfield. That's kind of the way that the game is going now for guys who don't have that set position. You know, if you can play a lot of different positions, you've got a pretty good chance of staying in the big leagues nowadays.
So an opportunity now for Willie Berger, his first at bat in this contest out of Maytown, Pennsylvania, Lancaster Catholic High School. 1 ball and 1 strike the count.
Willie Berger, one of the great stories of this event, has been playing in Perfect Game events for 4 years and was a big young man, rededicated himself to getting his body in shape, lost about 50 pounds over the last 14, 15 months, completely rechanged his body, and as you'd expect, the tools came along with it and really improved. He's has an outstanding swing. He can play all over the field, is caught all the infield positions, switch, but a man who really dedicated himself to getting better and has.
3-1 the count as that fastball is high and tight from Cole Mackay out of Concordia Smithson Valley High School. This is what David's talking about with regard to dropping 50 pounds on the scale. That's what it's turned into. Well, he is a big fella, 6'5", 220 as he breaks that Louisville Slugger. Ouch! It's interesting because Berger now with his discipline is not inviting himself into the kitchen quite as often. Glad to have you with us at the 2014 Perfect Game All-American Classic. Darryl Hamilton, David Ronsley, Brett Dolan. My name is Darren Sutton at Petco Park here in San Diego, California. It was a wonderful night last night at the San Diego Hall of Champions. The Perfect Game Awards dinner, the All-American Award, the Baseball America Pitcher of the Year. We saw his work a moment ago. Cole Mackay, what he did. And we've seen him work very hard behind the plate. The Evo Shield Swag Award out of Long Beach, California. Chris Betts, the Nick Adenhart Award. Nick Adenhart, who lost his life, was a former Perfect Game All-American. Jahmai Jones was honored with that award after losing his father at 13. Justin Hooper kicked things off. Baseball Prospectus Prospect of the Year. Brendan Rodgers, talented shortstop and Floridian. The Rawlings Defensive Player of the Year, and the big bat of Greg Pickett. The Louisville Slugger, Most Outstanding Offensive Player of the Year. And Daz Cameron, the Jackie Robinson Award, that beautiful keepsake, that trophy. The watch provided by our great friends and partners with Oakley. Just a great night. You do a very good job, and a chance too to really point out Rady Children's Hospital, the benefits that they receive. Rady sent some very special folks to share their story about how the young men and the $50,000 that they have raised are helping good benefit. So just a good night, a celebration of baseball and these young men.
And it was my first opportunity going to the Halls of Champions in San Diego. Unbelievable. I mean, what a great place to see the history of San Diego professional sports.
Hillman with pretty good stuff.
We better catch up on Juan Hillman quickly. He got one pitch, one out to end last inning, 3 pitches, a strikeout here in the bottom of the 7th inning. So he's working quick and spotting his pitches.
That, by the way, was Wyatt Cross a moment ago, one of the best defensive catchers in the country out of Broomfield, Colorado. And he gives way to Doak Dozier, who slaps that one into center field out of Arlington Heights High School in Fort Worth, Texas. Big fella, 6'3". He can run just like the rest of them, a 6'5", 760. Doak Dozier with the single.
Oh, you're talking about slapping it to center field. It looked that way, but I tell you, that ball had a little hemp on it when it got out towards the outfield.
Now Dozier, as you mentioned, a very good runner, 6'5", 7 in the 60 at the Perfect Game National. I've got my stopwatch out here, see if we can have our first challenge stolen base attempt of the evening. Eli Marrero behind the plate for the East team.
Big Ryan Johnson now. Breaking ball and a dandy. Doak Dozier, personally one of my favorites in the National Showcase. Folks with Perfect Game give me a hard time. That's the namesake, the legendary football player, Doak Walker, 3-time All-American, Heisman Trophy winner, Pro Football Hall of Fame. It's a pretty good namesake. And a good breaking ball on 0-2. 1-2 the count.
And in Fort Worth, Texas, they take their football pretty seriously. Everywhere in Texas, as a matter of fact.
That would be the understatement of the century.
1-2 the count. Runner goes in there with the slide. Dozier will move on up to third base. Head first slide. A stolen base. Doak Dozier single, swiped it. An errant throw sails into center field. So there's the 6'3" athleticism on display.
Well, and Dozier didn't give me one more pinch to say this, because I'm thinking to myself, as a base runner, when you've got a pretty good catcher behind home plate, you want to challenge yourself to see how good you are. And there are times you're going to take off just to see if you've got that kind of speed. Well, he got a great jump, and you're right, the speed that he has getting to second base, easy when the ball goes to the outfield to get to third.
Ryan Johnson takes outside. 3-2 the count.
It's pretty amazing the speed that these kids have at this age. You know, I thought back in the day a 6'5" was pretty good. Just about all these kids can get close to that or better.
Over the outside corner, Hillman does some painting. And so the runner stays at third. The infield was in. They'll head back now.
And that's what Juan Hillman does. We've seen his curveball, we've seen his fastball to the corners. He's a very mature young pitcher in his ability to spot the ball. And we really haven't seen the changeup yet. Let's see if he, left-handed hitter up, maybe not, but we'll see if we see the changeup this time.
One 1-0 the count to Cody Clemens.
You know, that's not a bad pitch to a lefty, throwing that changeup, for the simple fact that most left-handed hitters don't expect that coming from a left-handed pitcher. I remember facing Andy Petty, who threw that a lot to left-handed hitters.
Fastball is high. Clemens singled in his last at bat, 1 for 2, came around to score a run. Memorial High School, his travel team, the Houston Banditos, a very successful program. And the count is 3-0 as he patiently waits.
So yeah, I am so impressed with a lot of these left-handed hitters staying on these left-handed pitchers. I mean, we're talking best of the best, and these guys throw great fastball, curveballs, but these left-handed hitters aren't phased at all.
3 balls and 1 strike to count. The West squad leads it by a score of 5-0. Dad looks on from pretty close perspective behind home plate. 3-2 the count, right at the knees.
And that's okay. You didn't come to an All-Star game to walk. Swing the bat. He's okay with this.
Clemens is committed to, no big surprise, Texas.
Really? Shocking. Shocking.
A lot of room in right center field as he swings through that one. Pretty good fastball, high and inside. Gentlemen, that's 3 outs. Well, this is a big drink of water. His name is Luken Baker. He can hit bombs, but he likes to pitch, and that's what he'll do.
Yes, a lot of talk lately about Luken Baker as a two-way prospect because of the power. He won the junior home run derby at the All-Star game. He's hit some bombs on the summer circuit this summer, but I think he belongs on the mound. It's power stuff from a big Texan.
Kyle Tucker is the batter. Tucker takes over the outside corner, 1-1 the count. Out of Plant High School in the Tampa area. And a fabulous student, well over a 4.0 GPA, a 4.7 for the AP and honors courses. He belts that one to center field. Well struck out there, and it's down and up against the wall. Trenton Clark will get it back in. And he may be good in the classroom, but how about with the bat in his hands? He let the big Texan provide the power. But that's a nice pass at the baseball door.
A very nice swing. Ball is kind of middle away. He strokes it into center field, and really when he hit that ball, I didn't think he had that much pop on it. But I tell you, it took off. Up in the zone, he stayed with it and hit it where it's pitched. That's what you want to tell young hitters. Don't try to pull everything. Hit the ball where it's pitched. And he showed he's got a little pop in that bat.
Yeah, and Tucker's well known to scouts for that power, and he doesn't look like a power hitter. He weighs 175 pounds. It's kind of an unconventional swing, but the power is to the middle of the field, and it is big power.
So welcome to the contest, Kyle Tucker, Nick Fortis.
That scouting report is a little wrong. Power will develop. I think it's there already.
Fortis, a catcher out of DeLand, Florida. We saw him working behind the plate earlier. That ground out moves the runner to third. And a nice play defensively made it look easy, charging in from third base. That's Parker Kelly. John Aiello now. And a great story, Aiello. He attended this game last year before attending a showcase after, so he sat in the seats and thought, the moment he left, I'd like to make this game. I'd like to get an opportunity. A cold weather state, air quotes around it certainly, but did his work, earned his way back here. #1 shortstop prospect in Pennsylvania, #2 in the nation.
Yeah, and to be quite honest, last year we had a good idea that John Aiello would be in this game, but nonetheless he has a reputation as being one of the hardest workers in this class. Somebody who's going to be hitting every day, whether that's inside in the winter in Pennsylvania, outside. He's a ball player, and he'd be the type that would be sitting here at a game he's not playing in, trying to learn something, using it as a motivator for his future.
And that's something you can't teach kids. It's in you. If you have the athleticism to go out there and do the job, which a lot of these kids have, then that's something that is normal. But to have the dedication and want to do it day in and day out, that's something you can't teach.
And he earns his way on with a walk, so Aiello is on. Runners on first and third. You know, the interesting thing about John is he plays for a really good travel club, Tri-State Arsenal, out of New Jersey. So he makes the trip when he needs to from Lansdale, Pennsylvania, not far from Philadelphia. But that's the same travel club that produced Mike Trout.
Mike Trout.
And we've talked a lot about travel squads, and all these kids play on travel squads. It's amazing what the dedication that the parents have with these travel squads, because it's just that you're traveling all over the place, and you've got to be dedicated for your kid to get the opportunity to play in all these different places. And to have that support is something very, very special. And I'm sure these kids really appreciate what their parents have done.
If not, they've been reminded by everyone they run into on this trip, including last night at the dinner. Out of the catcher's mitt, Chris Chatfield, committed to South Florida out of Spoto High School, out of Riverview, Florida. And in the top 20 with regard to his high school class, #3 outfielder in Florida.
And I used the word projectable before with pitchers, and it's usually a term used by scouts on pitchers. Chatfield represents a projectable player, 6'3", 190 pounds. Last year at this time of the year, he weighed 170 to 175, has worked hard and let his body mature, gotten stronger. I wouldn't have bet, we talked about Aiello. Yeah, we thought he'd probably be in this game last year. I would have never guessed that Chris Chatfield would have been in this game. He's improved that much.
A strikeout there. We couldn't get the other team off the field. And Luken Baker thought that was 3 outs, or is that going to be it for him? Is there going to be a pitching change to allow everyone to pitch? That may be the case, right?
You see that sinking fastball down in the zone, 93 miles an hour on just a tough pitch to hit.
And I think they're being very kind when they say Luken Baker is 240. I met him before the game, and he's every bit of 240 plus.
And I think what we have here, the West team has 10 pitchers on it, so we need to break up the late innings, get everybody some time on the mound.
So Patrick Sandoval out of Mission Viejo comes on. Luken Baker gives way. We'll introduce you to Patrick in a moment. Des Cameron, the #1 prospect in the nation. That's the start. He'll introduce us.
My name is Des Cameron. I'm down in Georgia and I play center field. Center field is great for me because, you got a lot of wide open space to run. He's taught me a lot about the game. He gives me great advice when I need it. It's great to be compared to him. Great person to look up to. I listen to a lot of Kendrick, J. Cole, Drake, rap, hip hop. I mean, we don't want too much worry about the pressure like that. Just go out there and have fun and play.
Des Cameron looks out as one of his good buddies and speedsters. Alonzo Jones digs into the box. And he will face Patrick Sandoval. He came on, the left-hander out of Mission Viejo High School, through 91 miles an hour after midnight at the National Showcase in Fort Myers, Florida. And that first fastball is high. 1-0 the count. At that same showcase, the man he is facing, Alonzo Jones, showed some great speed. Jones running a 6.1760.
Okay. I think I was talking earlier about how 6'5" is the norm, and that's flying, but this is unheard of.
And I have my stopwatch out. Patrick Sandoval, very fast arm, projectable, one of the best breaking balls in the 2015 class. It has slider speed and curveball depth. And a young man who's really also improved in the last year and is going to keep improving. But watch for the breaking ball if he gets in a breaking ball count.
Some of his finals had to be taken a week early because there were so many seniors in his classes. So he barely made it to the showcase. He had to get all those finals taken care of. There's your breaking ball.
Breaking ball hits the outside corner with it, gets even in the count. Showing some confidence using it 2-1.
Alonzo Jones headed to Vandy. East Cobb Astros, his travel squad. East Cobb in the Atlanta area. Big travel. Oh, we would have gotten to see him run for so long.
That would have been nice.
And the thing about Alonzo Jones, he has that running back build. I mean, you look at him and you think, why isn't he going to Alabama to play running back or something with that speed and the big build? And the outfielders saying, oh, they're playing a little shallow. He has the power and the strength with that that broad back you see to get the balls in the gap. And if he does, that's going to be fun to watch.
Columbus High School. Runners on first and third. The East trying to scratch. Chase with a fastball up and out of there. So Patrick Sandoval. He had to wait a long time pitching Fort Myers. He did again tonight. 5-0 is our score in the waning moments of this contest. The Perfect Game All-American Classic. All of these talented players headed into their senior years in high school. You will hear a lot of their names, certainly a lot of their names, in next year's Major League Baseball first-year player draft. Maybe this is one of them. Out of Hernando, Mississippi, Austin Riley. Big and strong. He can also swing the bat. He's a pitcher and a third baseman. DeSoto Central High School. He touched 94 miles an hour at one of Perfect Game's brand new properties in Georgia, Lake Point, at the 17U National Championship.
Yeah, Austin Riley is really one of the better two-way prospects. I think he's 50-50 now on whether the power as a third baseman or the power arm on the mound is the best tool. But a young man who, if he does go to Mississippi State, has the chance to be an All-American at both positions, and that would be a huge thing for Mississippi State to get him.
Brian Hayes takes a pitch that is low. 1-0 the count.
You see the scouting report on him. Curveball has really good feel for the curveball. Can shape it differently, change the speeds on it, give the shorter slider look or the bigger downer curveball look. And he's a young man who goes out there, and I've seen him throw the 7 innings. And Darren, in fact, you have too, down in Florida at the Perfect Game High School Showdown. Just a very versatile player, but a mature pitcher on the mound.
And pretty incredible. We're talking about a kid on the mound who is the #1 ranked at third base. I mean, to me, that's unbelievable, because he looks like he has good command of his pitching. But, by the way, he's a great third baseman. So a little bit of a decision to make if he goes to Mississippi State, but a great decision to make.
It's tougher to do when you go to pro ball. As a matter of fact, it almost never happens. If you go to Mississippi State, you can play some third, pitch the ninth.
Yeah, no doubt. And there are players who will go to college just because they know they're a pitcher in the future, but they still want to be a hitter and get their swings.
Yeah, Brian Hayes with a line drive and a base hit into center field, so he is 1 for 2. Back down to the dugout. Brett Dolan standing by. Brett.
All right, Darren, Kyle Dean, Drew Finley join us, kind of the unofficial host of this event, the local guys. And Kyle, this event has been on your radar, I'm sure, for many years. What has this experience been like to welcome so many guys to your hometown?
Oh, it's been amazing. Friday we went to the beach, and the waves were huge, and that was a plus. So we had some great Mexican, and I was really glad to show them what San Diego was really all about.
And Drew, Trevor Hoffman's advice was don't drown, but he's a big icon in this area, a big part of this event. What has it been like to be around him and maybe pick his brain?
Being able to pick his brains has been awesome. Getting to know him for the last couple of years, going to school with his kids, was just awesome. Growing a relationship with him, and being able to share his experience with him, and him give me all the advice and all the advice that he's given me has been awesome, and I can't appreciate it more.
And Kyle, you turned around, you batted left-handed for a swing to honor Tony Gwynn, another San Diego icon. Was that something you had considered for a while?
I was kind of just I thought about it, and I was like, maybe I don't want to draw attention and mess up with the pitcher. And then my dad said something, and one of my coaches said, hey, you did this. I was like, oh, I've already thought about it. So I did it, and I grew up watching him play, and he retired when I was 4 years old. So when my dad came and went to the Padres game, I always just watched him how he hit, because he got hits all the time. So it was really special, and I was really glad to be able to do it.
Yeah, two good local ambassadors as well, Kyle Dean and Drew Finley. Darren, back up to you.
Yeah, we are honored to visit their beautiful hometown, and thrilled to see that play. Certainly a good one. Rancho Bernardo High School has both of those players playing baseball here in San Diego, California. And there's certainly a who's who when you look back just to last year with Alex Jackson, but then you go back even further. Hank Blaylock and Cole Hammonds. Just a great program. That one is right down the middle. And a strike to Lucan Baker. All right, there's the at-bat. The big fellow we've seen him pitch. We know he's already won a home run derby in front of 40+ thousand in Minneapolis at the All-Star game. Runner on his way to third. Gobbled up out there. Long throw across the diamond. Jonathan India is there to make the play for the second out of the inning. Big Lucan. It was packed, crowded. Baker showing the power. Well, this was early on. This was his warm-up for that home run derby. The yard was empty at that point. But then when it really counted, when the chips were down, look at him peppering the second deck. Five to nothing is the score. Well, right from the interview into the batter's box, here's Kyle Dean.
Well, he's
How
a
did that
professional.
happen?
He's a professional at this point. Nothing phases him.
And we have seen that big breaking ball from Austin Riley. Got one over for strike one. 92 on that fastball coming back.
Into right field. It's dumped out there and the base hit. So he is a professional. He's just wrapping up the interview. He picks up the base hit. The San Diego product. And he makes it 6-0.
I think at this point it's so neat for a kid here in San Diego to get an opportunity to play in this ballpark. Sure, he's gone to a number of Padres games. Never thought he would be on this field so soon. But he's got the talent, that's for sure.
One of the things it's really fun about this week, and Daryl, you got a taste of it at the banquet last night, Darren, you've been through it many times, is you get to know these kids off the field. You see them in the hotel, you see them at a banquet, you eat meals with them, and both our hosts this year, Drew Finley and Dean, are really, really good personality, open, fun kids, and they've been great hosts for the community.
We saw Dean standing by Isaiah Gilliam, young man out of Lilburn, Georgia. Gilliam completed high school after his junior year, as that one is low. Became draft eligible very late in the game because he was done and draft eligible after 3 years. The Cubs picked him with the 23rd pick, the 23rd round this year out of Parkview High School. So obviously when the signing deadline came and went and he hadn't signed, as Dean swipes second base. So that good speed on display. One of the more unique All-Americans at first as Dean took off there when you're talking about Isaiah Gilliam, because he's actually already been drafted. Now he's going to go play at Chipola Junior College. Great family history. As a matter of fact, a relative of Jim Gilliam's, the late legendary Dodger and Dodger coach.
Yeah, really kind of a unique situation. He's always been a member of the 2015 class. He's a 15 age and just a unique circumstance.
That time not tall enough, couldn't get that arm extended to make a play. So we see Gilliam unfortunately unable to get to a ball on a wild throw. And so another run crosses the plate. And the West leads it by a score of 7-0.
And one of those plays where you would assume you take your time and make a good throw to first, but kind of ball got away from him at second base, came up and just completely lost it. It happens sometimes, and again, these are kids, 17-year-olds, 16-year-olds out there. They're not going to make every play, but hopefully they learn from it.
And sometimes that internal clock that you have on the baseball field that takes so many repetitions, and especially when you're going to a different level of competition. In high school, maybe you don't have to rush that play, but this game is faster at this level, and it's going to keep getting faster at the levels above it as well.
Good looking 12-6 curveball drops into Trenton Clark. Right back at him. 2-1 the count.
Now Clark, a young man who you better turn your clock up a little higher for, because he can run and he'll make contact. Has a really strange grip. If you can look at that grip on the bat there, but makes a lot of contact, an easy plus runner. We saw him run last time when he lined the ball back off the pitcher's glove and got on base. There we see the grip there. Very unusual, but it works for him, and that's all that really matters.
Looks a little like a golfer's grip, kind of turned in and more in the fingers than anything.
And my first thought, and I think of a lot of scouts, is you see that grip and you think, oh, that's going to be a contact swing. There's not a lot of power there. but he really does have power, especially when he's pulling the ball. And he has a great feel for the game. He sees the ball, he'll work counts, get a lot of walks, and recognize that pitch he can turn on and drive.
Well, one of the best advice I ever had from a hitting coach was from my old hitting coach, Mike Easler, who said a relaxed hitter is a dangerous hitter. You can see he's very relaxed at the plate.
That time tough to deal with the extended outside corner, and we get to know Austin Riley. Will he pitch? Will he hit? As he headed tonight's Evo Shield play of the game, Mr. Clemens, Cody, leaving his feet, headed to the University of Texas as a middle infielder. The youngest of Roger Clemens' 4 sons with the Evo Shield play of the game. Patrick Sandoval with one more pitcher slated to work. We will see if that occurs, but Patrick Sandoval goes back to work. Clemens back out there now at shortstop. And he's facing a fellow middle infielder and a talented one in Jonathan India. India goes after the first pitch out of Coral Gables, Florida. And India, a unique story. Dad, John, a world champion bodybuilder and now a deputy sheriff for the Broward County Sheriff's Department. So India rolls out to the right side, and we see Brett Kay, the head coach at Jay Serra in San Juan Capistrano, come out to make the move, to make the call to the bullpen. Christopher Andrizos out of the Woodlands in Texas. We'll introduce you to Christopher in a minute. Of the game, even though one hasn't gone over the wall, to Willie Berger, the man who's about to hit next. Maybe he will get one over the wall, but Willie Berger, I'll go ahead and give him, as he walks toward the batter's box, the home run of the week, because he on his own raised nearly $6,000 in the fight of childhood cancer to donate to Rady Children's Hospital. He and his teammates a total of $50,000. So the young man out of Maytown, PA, will give him the home run of the game as he works against Christopher Andrizos, the right-handed pitcher, 6'4", 230, a Texan.
Yeah, do we have to say he's a Texan? That's a theme. It's a theme I don't think is going to change in the near future of baseball either.
94 on July the 4th. He touched it at the World Wood Bat Association 17U Championship in Lake Point. Perfect Game's new complex in Emerson, just north of Atlanta, northwest. maybe even more in that right arm as he develops.
Yeah, and he's listed at 6'4", 230. I think he's a little shy of the 230 right now because he's another young man like Willie Berger at the plate who has really lost weight and firmed up his body in the last 6 months or so. I wouldn't doubt he's more than about, having seen him off the field this week, about 210 or 215, only 210 or 215, Darryl. And I think he's a better pitcher and a better athlete because of it.
2-2 the count. Football player too. He's played a little bit of quarterback and football, and he punts on the team at the Woodlands as that breaking ball is low. His squad last year losing to powerhouse Allen High School in the playoffs, the Woodlands.
Surprising he's going to Oklahoma. Wow.
Right through it, and down he goes. Swings right through it. He still hit a home run for the kids this week. Willie Berger couldn't catch up with that fastball. Pride of Maytown, PA gives way to Eli Marrero. Talked about him earlier and his work and his dad's work. Coral Gables Senior High School.
Yeah, now you said earlier, Darryl, talking to all your ex-teammates out on the field makes you, feel old. Well, I feel old when I watch Eli Marrero because it was the first time a couple years ago where I was ever conscious of scouting father and scouting son. Having seen Eli play back in South Florida in the early 1990s and then seeing his son play.
On a hop to the bag. That'll do it. The West squad wins the perfect game All-American Championship. Here they come. Here comes the water. These are all prospects. Nobody get hurt out there. Here comes the East squad. This is not a brawl. This is not a brawl. They've spent the week together.
Oh, boy.
This is a tradition at Petco Park. Not a tradition we hope it ends in anybody remembering except for the good times. But, yeah, it's kind of a perfect culmination of a great week for these young men. And they have become not only teammates in this game, but these guys are going to be playing together in the future. They're going to be playing in the big leagues together, a whole lot of them, and this is just part of their bonding experience.
Congratulations to the West squad, a 7-0 win. They win it the perfect game All-American Classic. They are the champions by a score of 7-0. Everybody's all right? Yes.
It's Chris Betts down at the bottom, I think, isn't it?
Moms and dads and SEC and Pac-12 and Big 12 coaches and professional scouts all over the country.
That was Kyle Molnar, actually, at the bottom there getting up.
We're very scared.
All right. Luke and Baker.
Luke and Baker is all
ironic.
in one piece. Yeah, shaking it off, high fives all around. You don't want to visit the hospital and then visit the hospital. Let's get down to Brett Dolan. It's time for our MVP presentation. He is there with Trevor Hoffman.
Okay, thank you, Darren. We're going to close out this event with our closer. What a tremendous ambassador for this event. San Diego icon and legend Trevor Hoffman has the most valuable player to introduce. In a game held here in California and dominated by pitchers, we have a Californian and we have a pitcher. Colby Allard is our most valuable player. Colby, congratulations. You struck out the side in the second inning and kind of set the tone tonight for a game that really saw some outstanding pitching.
Yeah, we got so many great pitchers out here. It's just a complete honor.
Any adrenaline, anxiety when you got out to the mound?
Yeah, there's a little bit of adrenaline with all the fans and everything, all the great players, but, I'm just having fun out there.
You get to face the best of the best hitters in this class. You get to practice with them and prepare for them this week. What has this entire experience been like?
It's just been awesome. It's a total humbling experience just with all these superstars out here. I'm just blessed to be here.
You didn't get hurt in the dog pile, did you?
Well, he just got iced if he got hurt.
If he didn't get hurt in the dog pile, he did get the Gatorade bath. Congratulations, Colby.
Thank you, thank you.
Colby Allard, our most valuable player of the perfect game All-American Classic. Darren, back up to you.
Darryl, this is your first one. What are your thoughts?
I thought it was impressive. San Diego did an outstanding job hosting this, and the kids learned a lot this week. It's such a special time to not only figure out if you're able to play in this league, but seeing guys on your same level and watching the camaraderie and the fact that these guys enjoy playing a game at a young age is something special to see, Dave.
David, Brady Aiken certainly was part of it last year. Tyler Kolek was part of it. We thought maybe it'd be all about offense. There still was some pretty good pitching.
Oh, I think I jinxed the hitters, but it's really not a matter of jinxing them. I've been watching these pitchers all summer and all over the last year, and they almost to a man threw up to their potential tonight. And Cody Allard threw better than I have ever seen him before. So the pitchers were on their game, and Daryl, as you know, good pitching is going to beat good hitting every time, and it was just outstanding performance.
Thank you, both of you. Thank you, Brett Dolan down in the field, and thanks to Trevor Hoffman as well. Tuesday night,